thankful to be here. Thank you for having me. Nicole, how we go way back. But I thank you so much just for having me. I'm really excited. That's why I was trying to get my stuff together over here.
I'm glad that you have the opportunity. We are still here. We lost so many people during the pandemic, and it's very difficult even to just get up sometimes.
Yeah, well, definitely it has been a lot. I've seen a lot. This pandemic has taught me so much. I've learned so much through this pandemic. But one of the things, I did lose my job. I've been out of work for over a year now, but God is good. I ain't miss no meals. I am good. It
Right.
actually, even through the back, and then the other part was that I lost people that I knew, friends that, and some of them wasn't even because of the pandemic, wasn't through COVID, but they just had gotten sick or whatever. I've lost a few friends. The support that I've had, even through my church, my family, friends and stuff like that. It's been like just amazing for me. I really didn't have to want for anything. The only thing that I can really say what this pandemic has taught me was to get out of my comfort zone, to get out
Wow.
of my comfort zone,
Yeah.
and to do the things that I probably didn't want to make, not even say didn't want to, but didn't feel that I could make the time to do. Like, so now that I'm not working, I have all of this time to do so much, you know what I
Right.
mean? And
Mhm.
now I can do those things that I wasn't doing when I was working. I don't
That's
work so
right.
many hours, I'm tired, I can't, I got this to do, I got other things, getting so distracted because you have so many things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
now you kind of sit back and you look and you say, wow, let me
Yep.
focus on this. Let me come out of this comfort zone, because now I gotta do stuff. I gotta hustle out
Right.
here. I gotta make me $1 out here. So now it's like, listen, either it's sink or swim, and I ain't trying to sink.
Mhm. Oh
I ain't trying
Lord.
to sink, you know. So
Right.
but
I mean, you were very consistent. It was a little bit for those of you that don't know, Tisha Hunter is was a part of the group called the Ex-Girlfriend.
yes.
Um, and we loved you guys like back in, well, I think it was the 80s, right? It was like
That was
the
the
90s.
90s actually. That was in the early 90s. Yeah.
So
Mm.
around under the group name, what you started off with Petite, right? Was
Yes.
Petite, and then
Yes.
the consisting name. I think it was a Kimberly Davis that
Yes, it was Kimberly Davis first. She was the original member. And even after we moved on to Ex-Girlfriend, she was still the original member. And
right. I
then
remember.
then she started doing, some other things as well. So, other things happened, but that's, I really wouldn't feel comfortable to talk about that. But, but
Right.
we are still friends to this day.
Mhm.
Girl is doing her thing,
Yeah. 20
So,
years of friendship between you guys. I think it's even more than that.
yeah,
Um,
more than that, we were childhood friends.
So
Childhood
the
friends.
group itself, it experienced a change. What was that change?
Well, when we became ex-girlfriend, when Kimberly wasn't with us anymore, we were in search of another young lady.
Okay.
And we held an audition, full force,
Okay.
held an audition, and we saw a bunch of singers, and Stacey Francis, she was the one that actually stood out to us, and we really wanted her. It took us like maybe a couple of days to get back to her, but we did get back to her, and then she came onto the group, and it was, we just went on from there. Yeah.
So you guys originated in Brooklyn, correct? Or was it
No, we all are from different boroughs.
different?
Yeah, we all are from different boroughs. So of course, I'm from Harlem. Three of the girls are from Harlem, and Stacy was from Brooklyn. But it's funny because even with Kim, she's from Brooklyn
Mhm.
too. This group do. What could
Yeah.
it, what name really could fit them where it's not too prissy, but
Okay.
yet it's still a group. It's still a
Of course.
girl kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they were like ex-girl, because first they was like girlfriend, and like, nah, we want
Not
ex-girl.
just I
Yeah,
like the ex
yeah.
girlfriend because it gives it more. You want to know more. You want to learn more
Why
about them.
ex-girlfriend? It's a question, it's like, so you want to know more about it. So, and it definitely was a question, and it was like our little thing. And
Mhm.
we made ex-girlfriend into a positive thing. you know
Right.
it's all
Right.
right to be
Right.
an ex-girlfriend. It's all right to be an ex of somebody, because you're moving on, you're growing, you're learning. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We all are ex-girlfriend. Everybody out here is an ex-girlfriend of somebody
In some way.
somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, your endeavors were really it made you who you are today. You are in a totally different place in your life today, and it's so awesome to listen to you speak. You know how I feel about that. I love to hear you talk. You have so many good opportunities for young people in your church. You deal with a lot of people in their lives, and now that you're on Now PR Magazine, I'm very excited. But I want to know what have you been up to since the entire situation with the group and
Ooh, well, dude, you talking about some years, because I got, I ain't young and let me stop. I don't want to say
you
that.
sure
I
you
ain't
looking
old
good.
yet. You're only as old as you feel.
That's right.
But
That's right.
yeah, but it's been some years ago. But since then, we've still we actually were still a group with just three of us. When Stacy actually started went solo, we still tried the ex-girlfriend thing. We were still doing the group thing. We got another girl, and it just
It
didn't
worked.
really yeah, it didn't really
Mhm.
work. So we basically started just doing our own things. Had to find my life, get my life,
That's
because I
right.
was like all over the place. After the group, I'm gonna be honest, I was all over the place
Oh
because I
wow.
exited. I lost my mom, and then
Oh,
I lost my grandfather and my grandmother. Like, it was a lot of stuff that I went through
yeah.
after that. So I was lost, and I definitely know I needed a church home. My mom, before she passed away, she really got her life together,
Mhm.
and she always told me, she said, Tisha, don't worry about me. She said, I'm really worried about you. And she wanted
Mhm.
me to get saved. She did.
Amen.
She said, give your life to God. I'm telling you. She said, I want my kids covered. And
That's
that
right.
was always her prayer. And
Okay.
I wanted to find that. I needed that spiritual
Right.
guidance, direction. Like, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? Because you trying all different things and ain't nothing working.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't happy, going through things of different relationships, and it was just crazy. When I got married, it was different,
Oh,
but it was,
wow.
you know, up until that, I went through a lot of disappointments, feeling like I wasn't worth it. Like, what can I
Yeah.
do? Like,
Yeah.
God, what am I
Mhm.
supposed to be doing? But I did land a gig. I was doing the guy from JT Taylor from Cool in the Gang. That was
Wow.
one thing that uplifted me, because that was like, it came at a real down time in my life, and I went to that audition,
I
and
remember JP.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Mm-hmm.
had formed his own band. He was the lead
Mm.
singer of Kool and the Gang, and that was like looking at a legend, like
Okay.
celebration, all of the
Right.
too high,
There
all that
you
stuff.
are.
I'm
There
sitting
you are.
here, oh my God. So so when I went on audition, I made it, and they
Right.
called me back, and I was like, wow, first gig, we going to Africa. Ooh,
Ah,
I'm packing my stuff. I ain't got no money.
uh-oh.
I'm like, I'm trying to make some. I'm just packing my
Right.
stuff. I'm getting myself. I'm excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to travel the world again. You know,
Exactly.
that was like the big thing that happened after the group.
Mhm.
And then when I gave my life to Christ, of course, and got with the ministry, and then became the choir director, and things were just happening. Everything was happening. I got married. Everything, just all of the good stuff started happening.
Well,
So, but
as you I mean, you know that I was pretty much really, really cool with your husband.
oh,
God
absolutely,
was
he
dead.
loved you,
And
loved you.
Kevin, you and Kevin, you saw Kevin, you saw Kevin,
Right.
you saw you. And that was what a wonderful time, that we used to have. And I remember when I first started, when we met at
Mm-hmm.
the old job that we worked at, it was meant, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you
Yeah.
guys left a
Yeah.
huge, huge impression on me as a couple and individually. So I really do commend you for being such a strong, strong woman. And I have to give you all the props and glory because I'm gonna tell
Mm,
you this: a lot of people, they don't know the difference. They get caught in the middle. So with the pandemic, they slipped even further. They didn't have anything to grab onto. So what keeps you centered?
sometimes you can feel like you don't even know if God is really there with you. Some, because things start happening. You go through some trials, you go through tribulations, and you like, God, is God really there? Is God really, like, because I don't know, God, this ain't feeling right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But through those times when I started to realize and was
Right.
reassured that he is there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because you still here. You
That's
still
right.
here,
You're
you
still
know,
here.
and you have another chance to go after your dreams. You have
That's
another
true.
chance to start it all over again. Okay, let me get this right. Let me plan this thing again, you know, and Lord, I need your direction. Because a lot of times we want God to do what he needs to do for us, but then we're not listening. Sometimes God, you got
Right.
to bask in his presence. You got to be
Right.
quiet. You got to be silent and hear. And you'll be surprised on the things that you start hearing. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I never really, because you keep talking. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
God, like you know, God, I want you to do this. God, I want you to do that. God, I need this. God, look. Sometimes you just gotta sit
Wow.
quiet, just bask in His presence, you know, and God will start to reveal things to you that you will never ever, you know, like wow, I wouldn't even have thought of that if I didn't just sit, you know, because we always talking. Sometimes we always talking and doing things, and just you sit. It's gonna come. It's gonna come, and I know that it's God that actually that I have that to hold on, that I
Yeah.
had to hold on, because if I didn't, I'd be lost. I'd be out there running around trying to do this, my own thing, doing my own
Mm-hmm.
thing, and end up in situations that I know I should not have been in because I don't
Oh,
have that voice talking to
yeah,
me.
girl. I need some water. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You are amazing. You don't even realize the amount of people that you can touch. You
Mm.
are amazing. So I need to ask you, I want to ask you this. Is there something that people seem to misunderstand about you, about Tisha?
Mm. You
Just
asked like
we just
the
need to
best
get that
question.
out.
Sometimes you don't
Mhm.
know who you touch. You don't know who you are really, who's really
Mhm.
listening to
That's
you.
true.
You know,
Hmm.
I'm not really out there like that. Um,
Hmm.
um, but the misunderstanding could be that probably Tisha probably don't want to do it. Maybe she's just that's
Right,
not really what she really want to do.
right,
Because if you want to do it, you be running here, you be doing this, you be
right,
out there, you be making.
right
But
about that.
you
You'll
know,
be on
so
time.
exactly.
Mhm.
I'm pushing past that now. Pushing past
Mhm.
those fears because I've lived a life of being scared to do it, scared to go out there by myself, afraid of success and afraid of failure. And you can't be afraid of that. You can't be afraid to fail, and you can't be afraid of success. You know,
No.
sometimes, you know, we miss what God is trying to give us because we
And
sit here saying like, nah, we not worthy of it, or we ain't good enough. I mean, if we all thought like, a lot of us wouldn't be nowhere. If those people that are successful thought like that, we wouldn't have anybody to look forward to or look to say, wow, I could do that. We got to
Mhm.
let, sometimes God, and I say this, that
Right.
sometimes God will like, he will let, sometimes other people got to go so that
Mhm.
you can go. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
I'm
Like,
about to walk away. I'm about to. I'm about to walk away. You
some
better.
people,
You say that again. Say it again.
sometimes God, some people have to go so that you can go, you know, because you won't do it.
That's right.
Sometimes if your friend is like doing A, B, and C, you're like, wow, I got to do this. If she can do it, I know I can do it. And sometimes that's an inspiration to get you to start like, I got to go. I
That's
got to
right.
go. Because now,
I
because if they can do it, I know I can do it.
I am with
You
you
know,
all the way. I'm with you
so,
all the way. And you
but
know what's so crazy? When you always wonder, how did you end up where you are, right?
mm,
And sometimes I don't even remember how it started. That's just me.
Jesus.
I know that I'm here, but I
Right.
don't remember how it all started, because that's my
Say I
destiny.
can remember some things because you, sister, I remember you all, and this was one thing about you. Every time when I think about like in the past, like how you were, like when I first met you, you was always like this. Gotta move, gotta move. You always was
Mhm.
into something. You always had something going on, you know,
Yep.
and that showed leadership.
Mhm.
That showed leadership in you, and I always saw that in you. And I always knew
Oh,
that you was going to do something. You was going to be something. You was going to make
mhm.
something of your life, or you was
Crazy.
going to do something major, because that's how you've always been. Even back
Yeah.
then, you were doing things, you know,
Mhm.
with managing folks and with the music thing, and like you always had something going on, and that's why my husband, one of the things he loved that about you.
Right.
So he's like, yo,
Yeah,
she's doing
that's
this,
so
she's doing
true.
that. Some people
That
got
is
to
so
go, so you can go.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you how. First, I want to know, how did you even get into music? Were you and thank you for that, because
Mm,
I appreciate you guys, and
yeah.
whatever it is, I'm always gonna remember those days, those moments, and I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate
Mm-hmm.
saying those wonderful things, about me. But I really, truly, I followed your music. I was listening to Ex-Girlfriend. I know who you guys are. What made you get into music? It's obviously in your bones.
Yeah, yeah, that's something I've been singing since I was like 5, 6 years old. Always
Mm,
saw myself on the stage,
mhm,
always to sing. That was one of the things that I love. My mama used to sing. Now she didn't have the best voice, but my mama would sing all the time. And
okay.
she always had music around us, always had
Mhm,
music. And one of the things I'm a lover of music because my
mhm,
mama was that, and then when we started living with my grandmother actually raised us. She wasn't really into music like that, but it never left me. And so I'm
mhm.
always turning on the radio to listen to music. I'm always in the back room singing with my little cup in my hand, and I'm thinking that it's a mic, and everything
Right,
that comes on the radio, Tisha singing it. My grandmother used to go, "Shut up, all that noise back there," But it was always in me.
right.
It was always in
Mhm.
me, and I
The
just,
thing.
anytime the
What?
chance that I got to sing, I did it.
And that's and who touched your heart? Do you remember the one person in your life that touched your heart?
Coming from my childhood, my mom, I'll say
Mhm,
my mother and my great grandmother. I have to go from my childhood to where I'm at right now. But in growing up, my mom, my grandfather, and my grandmother, because those are the three people that were like in my life constantly. When I was about 8 years old, that's when I moved in with my grandfather and grandmother, great grandmother and grandfather, and they were like very like just
mhm,
a major influence in my life. They actually saved my life. When my mama couldn't take care of me, my great grandparents stepped in and
mhm,
saved us. We don't know what we could have where we could have been at that time. And although my mother would had hard times, she was still an inspiration to me
mhm.
because
When
I've seen.
you say hard times, are you referring to her not being around, or you're just?
Well, yeah, and
Mhm,
it was due to drug addiction. I can say that. And so they really saved me. But even in going through that, she still
mhm.
was a part of our lives. She didn't like stay away. You
Right,
know what I
leave.
mean? It was like I'm still
Mhm.
coming to see my kids. I don't, and
Right.
I'll never forget that because it wasn't empty.
Ah,
I didn't feel empty. Um,
wow. Of
I was just sad, but
course.
I wasn't empty. But before she passed, I mean, she changed her life and everything. So getting back, that's one of the reasons why I'm where I'm at right now. So that's why I
Um,
say them three,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
like one of
Mhm.
the things, music. The other
Mm.
thing was music. That
That was
my
actually my
inspiration.
next question. What makes you live your best life? I mean, the kids, they say it all the time, but
Ooh,
music makes you feel what? What does
it
music do
gives
to you?
me so much joy.
Wow.
Because it's in
Mhm.
me. I love music. Like I
Mhm.
just it's when you say you love somebody, like I
Yes. Yeah.
love music. Like I love singing for Christ right now. I love singing. Period. That's
Mhm.
just been a passion for me. I love to listen to music. I sometimes when I'm in my house, I'm just sitting in my house and I'm just listening to music. Different types of music. Like I don't
Mhm.
listen to one genre now. I like to be versatile with it, because that helps me with my gift. You can't
Mm.
sing one thing and then that's all you know how to do, because how you gonna sing to these folks?
To get to, yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
and
know,
that's the thing. What do you expect? I mean, there's always somebody that shocks you, always. And with all the trials and tribulations that you've gone through, is there anyone that you can remember that did something that you didn't expect?
um, one of the things I would have to say, two people, yeah, but I would have to say my husband and my
Hmm.
pastor who ain't here.
Hmm. Okay.
Um,
Wow.
those were two men that
Mm.
I would say in my life that believed in me so much, believed in my giftings, you know, and that genuinely loved me. You know what I mean? I it always Kevin was one that I would have to say that when it came down to music, it was like Tisha. When I didn't want to do it,
Mhm.
go ahead, Tisha. Like, why you not? Like, we would get into arguments. Like, and I would just like leave me alone with this. Like, because I was so depressed, feeling like
Mhm.
that I was just washed up. Like, ain't nobody gonna really listen to me. What I need to try to go back out there for?
Mhm.
My age. Da 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 da. Da. So he
Mhm.
always believed and pushed me to and
Mhm.
for him to see me now. I know he would probably be like, I told her that years ago. Like, but whatever.
Ab-
Glad she doing it. um,
Absolutely.
my pastor, everything that when I came to that church, like he putting me in, like God showed him that I was supposed to be the head of the music ministry at my church in regards to the choir, being a worship leader, choir director. Like God showed him that.
Mhm.
I never ever thought that I could be able to do something like that.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I was just going.
Right.
I was just
Mhm.
going. Oh my God,
Mhm.
the light. I know something is great. Okay, so my electricity in my house, my light bulb, every time I put a light bulb in, it would just go out. It'll just blow out. This thing just
Really?
came on. As I'm talking, it just came on. This is crazy.
Oh,
The light
oh
is,
no.
wait a minute. But
Wait.
okay,
Now, hold on now.
the
I'm gonna
light.
let you take that in. Take it in.
Mm,
Because we
mm,
already know.
mm, my God. So he was one that really pushed me into doing what I'm doing now, and to be the woman of God that I am now, and to get me closer to God. So I really am grateful. That was one thing that made me feel. I, I can't even describe it. You know what I mean? Like, to put me in, like, huh, for real? Like,
Mhm.
and I've been doing it now since, is this almost what, 11, 12, maybe 13 years, 14 years
Right.
now that I've been doing it. And I've grown so much spiritually, musically as well.
And when you just said that, and we already know what that is, you are supposed to be here. You're
Mm,
supposed to be here.
mm,
And some
ooh,
people, they know the moments, they know the signs, they take it in, but some people they miss it,
mm,
right? So
mm,
when I think I've missed so many signs,
ooh,
where I've had my ancestors try to try to tell me something, and I'm like, "Do-do-do-do-do," and they're like, oh God, will she just turn around? Like those are the moments where you're like, oh, okay, well now I'm older,
mm-hmm,
right? And I'm able to actually see and
mm,
feel what I want.
right. Mm,
So what is it that in the ultimate moments when you're sitting in your quiet moments, what do you really want? Do you know what you want in life?
yes. It took me 50 something years to get, sorry, but yeah, it took me a long time to.
I'm with you, babe.
Mm, yes, I do. And now I can comfortably and say it without fear or contradiction, like to say that I music is what I want. I see myself on that platform,
Okay.
vocally and musically, creating music for the people, to encourage folks. You know,
What if I,
um,
what if I told you that you are a great speaker? What if I told you that you had a career in public speaking also? What would you say?
ooh, I you know.
I think I told you that already,
I
but
think you did on the last one, which is kind of crazy because I feel like that's my weakest point. Like, I don't, like,
ooh,
I
far
just
from it.
started, and I know, like, before, you could never get me to speak, never. Like, when it
Really?
comes down to, like, I would never, like, let somebody else do it.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it. But I think more so, what I'm realizing is that in order to get what you want, you got to be able to speak up.
Right.
If you don't use your voice
Mhm.
to say what it is that I'm hurting,
Mhm.
I need you,
Mhm.
I want this
Yes.
is what I want to do. Like, you got to be able to speak that. And
Mhm.
that's where, I'm, getting more confident in
Hmm.
speaking up now,
Wow.
because there was a
Praise.
time in my life when I didn't.
And what would you tell your 18-year-old self? Like if you feel that way, what would you tell her?
I should have spoke up a little bit more, Jesus.
There you go.
I would tell my
There it
18,
is.
look, speak. Don't stop being quiet and timid. Speak up. If you
That's
want
right.
something, ask for it. If you
That's right.
want to do this, then you say this is what you want to do. When people ask you something, you tell them.
Tell 'em.
Stop feeling like you. I've always been, I don't want to ruffle nobody's
Yeah.
feathers. I
Yeah.
don't really want to say what I really feel because I don't want to hurt this. But you know what? People will say that to you.
Yeah.
People will ruffle your feathers and don't care because
Yeah.
they.
Hmm.
So,
They
and I'm
won't
not
care.
saying that I'm literally want to hurt somebody, but
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
say what
Of
it
course.
is.
Say what you feel. And I mean, life before the pandemic for me was comfortable.
Mm,
One word.
mm,
Very
comfortable.
comfortable. I was so comfortable to the point to where I just didn't know if there was anything out there left to do. So in indirectly that's called giving, just settling,
Mm-hmm.
allowing yourself to even feel anymore or to see anymore, or because
Right.
I don't listen, I'm blessed, we're all blessed. I
Mm-hmm.
have friends that have family members that are in situations where it's way before the pandemic where they were just sad, depressed,
Mm-hmm.
hurt from past
Mm-hmm.
relations, so what was it like for you before the pandemic? What were you doing? What were you thinking?
My thought process was retiring from my job, staying there, trying to be the best I could be
Yeah.
at the job so I can keep it. Getting out of debt. I had a lot of weight on me, and that's what kept me in this little safe box. Because
Hmm.
I don't want to take too much money and spend there. I want to hold on to my little change. I don't want to do this. I don't want, staying safe, you know,
Hmm.
and even and in Christ, and just but staying safe, because I'm afraid of the unknown. I'm afraid of what I don't know or what I can't control.
Hmm.
That makes
Hmm.
sense. And I, just staying like again, me staying
Yeah.
comfortable. You
Yeah.
know, this
That's
pandemic has taught us all to be. You better get in that uncomfortable box and
right.
go sit somewhere, sit in that uncomfortable box and get yours.
Yeah.
Because being
Yeah.
uncomfortable causes you wanted to do, like you gotta go. You can't
Hmm.
sit, you gotta go. You
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You can't just sit.
Hmm.
Nah,
Yeah.
I got to do this. Now
Yeah.
I got you. But that's how
Yeah.
you
I
get
mean,
stuff done.
it's too familiar. Your
Yeah.
story, my story, everybody's story is so familiar to others. And
Mm-hmm.
I like this story, your story will be familiar to so many of my readers.
Mm.
And, I want you to tell us, before we go, what do we expect from you? Like, what are you going to be doing to uplift, to move, to energize people?
Mm. Well, one thing, my music, that's what I'm praying for. But I I don't know where it's gonna go, because I may be saying I want this, and who's to say where God may take me somewhere else? I don't know. Maybe add some other things for me to do. But one of
Yeah.
the things that I'm working on right now is my music. Like I invested
Nice.
in some equipment and stuff so that I can start creating some music at home. Also, I'm still part of my church with ministry and stuff like that with my church. But really just to get out there on my own,
Mhm.
and I just never know where that might take me, but I just know that to look for me doing that. I have some people that I'm working with now. Like I said, I didn't want to speak too much on that because we still trying to, see how we feeling each other out right now. And these guys
Mhm.
are from Atlanta, but they are great. So
Mhm.
I'm just, I'm
Mhm.
I'm hoping that things will, prosper with that. God willing, that connection will work. But they have great music, and I'm ready to work, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
with my IG page, I got to start getting that up to date. So you'll be able to find me there. Whoever wants to, they can, follow me on my page. Check out my page. I'm gonna start updating it, of course. I'm on Facebook as well. I'm under Tisha Hunter. They can find me under there. I have a YouTube page too, and it's under TT Reeves. So they can go there and find me on my YouTube page as well. So, there's some things coming, and I'm gonna start putting more things out there. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I needed to get my little equipment so that I could
I was
start,
just about to say it. When you said equipment, I said, "Uh oh, she's not playing
oh,
around."
don't be playing. You start spending money on stuff, you better
Serious.
start using it. You got to use it.
That's right. She's serious. She means business. So, Kevin would be very proud of you with all of the great work that you've been doing. I want to thank you
Oh,
for taking the time out for hanging out with Now PR.